Well, welcome into the Late Night Gamecock Show. We just went live, and Alex made me laugh pretty good there before we came live. But Alex, your hair looks perfect as always.
I know. It did a minute ago, but now we're good now.
It's why I wear a hat, my friend.
I need to start doing that. I need to start doing that.
That exact same reason. Yeah, by the end of the day, man, my hair's all over the place. Cook dinner, whatever I've done. Like I've done like
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna shave my head. You should do that, Alex. Shave your head.
I'm gonna give it a few years. I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, I got a little bit more bald than you do. But I'm really happy to have the show tonight. Just for point of reference, this is August 20th. So the Gamecocks are inside, 11 or 12 days so they kick off in Atlanta against Virginia Tech. And tonight is the episode I look forward to the most, Alex, in the offseason. It's our predictions show. So we're going to get into the Gamecock schedule finally. We've gone through the preseason, given our preseason thoughts, but Alex and I are going to pick a win-loss for the Gamecocks in every game this year. We're not going to give our 100% that's going to happen predictions for the rest of the SEC, but Alex and I have looked at the schedules for the other SEC teams, and we've highlighted some teams that we think can potentially compete for an SEC championship. So we'll go through their schedules and kind of give a range of outcomes. We're going to get into what else do I have on the show notes, Alex? Oh, we got to pick our conference championships. We got to hey, Phil, are you in here, buddy? Alex, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, they don't call him the best producer in the world for nothing. He's doing something behind the scenes right now for us, so we appreciate it. I thought he had some comments on our predictions. But yeah, so we're going to give our predictions for the college football playoff and just see what teams we think can realistically get there, how many per conference, all of that. And then, Alex, we have a big surprise at the end of this episode, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right. Yep, we got a little bit of surprise. John Strickland, you know him, you love him, a former Gamecock offensive lineman. He's all over the Chief Sports Network. He wanted to pop on with us tonight and give some predictions of his own. So we'll have John for probably the last half of the show. He's got an important dinner that he has every Wednesday, so make sure he finishes that. But Alex, since we talk predictions, how do you feel about it right now? How do you feel about your predictions?
So, think about what we did last year. I think we were both in that 10-win mark, 9-win mark. And, hey, look how we ended up. We were both 1 win away from it. Looking at it last night and going through the game by game, I'm feeling pretty good about the chances. Obviously, we'll get into kind of the game by game stuff from a swing game standpoint, things like that. But, I'm really, I think this team's got a good chance to do some things this year.
Yeah, I do too. And I see Craig. Hey, what's up, Craig? I'm happy for you to be in the chat box tonight. We always love seeing Craig. Craig says, let's go. Irmo need a comeback. Yeah, please. If y'all are watching the game, keep Alex and I updated. We know it started at 7, and seeing that they need a comeback here doesn't look great. Alex, did you watch any of the Little League World Series earlier today by chance?
I did not. I wanted to, but then didn't get around to it.
So I was doing some other things. I was working, had it on the background, and I believe that I heard that one of the Chinese Taipei pitchers got up to the equivalent of 107 mile per hour fastball.
I saw that today. I think I don't know what the length is for Little League from mound to home plate, but it was like 82 miles an hour. And I was just like, how's that fair? I was like, that ball, out of the pitcher's hand going into the catcher's mitt's got to be about not even a second from that distance.
Yeah, I have no idea. And just look, as I get older, I think about player safety. So I'll be that guy. But 107 mile per hour fastball hitting a kid is no joke.
Yeah.
If you're throwing that fast, you better be able to control it. And he sure enough did today against Venezuela. So I'm not going to get on my soapbox here today about that. But like we said, big show tonight. Really excited to have John Strickland on. And, Alex and I will finally give our unofficial thoughts on the season. But Alex, let's hit that intro and get into it.
Gonna turn on the late night show, hear what's going down in Cool Town. Gamecocks will let me down.
So I'm talking to Phil there during the intro, and Phil apologizes for popping in. I said, Phil, come on in, man. The prediction episode's the best one. So we might see Phil, but Phil's always doing stuff in the background. We love him to death. Craig did say that Irmo is down 1-0. Irmo coming up in the bottom of the fourth. So if anybody's watching, can't read the chat box, and you want to stay updated on that score, I know Craig is good for it, so he'll keep us in tune there. Well, Alex, We've talked all about these opponents, but we haven't said where we'd pick South Carolina in the game, win or lose. So, Alex, let's run through this here, man. We all know big important game coming up day after Labor Day or day before Labor Day, Virginia Tech in Atlanta. What are your thoughts? You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll go ahead. I think it's one of those where I'm really interested kind of next week to hear what Beamer and coordinators say about preparing for this game, just because there's a lot of unknown with Virginia Tech's roster and really coaching staff as well. They lost a lot from last year's roster via the NFL draft with Bashal, Tuden, and some of those guys on defense, but also from the transfer portal as well. And brought in, I think it was around 30 guys from the transfer portal. And then, the two coaches, Philip Montgomery and Sam Skeets, are, kind of new, or obviously, they're known guys, but, it's just something that you got to find some film on those guys. So I think it could be one of those. From a score prediction, I'm not 100% sure which way I would go. I think the line's down to 7.5 right now. I think they had gotten up to 9 when it first came out. I think South Carolina can end up winning this game by, maybe in that 10 to 14 point range, just because, I think, from a first game standpoint, you think back to last year, Old Dominion got off to a little bit slow start in that one, 2 years ago, North Carolina. But, having a quarterback like Norris Sellers and some, veterans in some key spots, and maybe they do get it to where it's a, 14 to 17 point game. But I do think South Carolina wins by 2 scores.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm brave enough, Alex, to give the score prediction by how many points they score and win by. But, the more and more I think about this game and, talking to some folks, I'm ridiculously high on this defense, especially, the back 6 or 7, however they slice it up on a given play. But the more I look at it and the more I hear, it's like I'm hearing more, and Tony has been on the Big Spur saying it. So if you've missed it, make sure you're on the Big Spur. But Tony even said, it might be something where the defense has to play a little catch up, and there might have to be learning on the go a little bit, where the offense has to carry the team through the first couple of games.
Yeah.
And with a dual threat quarterback, it does somewhat worry me as far as the dual threat quarterback knows where he's going. If it's a design run, that's 11 on 11 then. If it's, a scramble, he knows where his wide receivers and tight ends are supposed to be. So I think I understand the line creeping down, but at the end of the day, I just don't think Virginia Tech can outscore the Gamecocks. Now, if Virginia Tech, and we'll have way more on this next week, so we don't have to go too much in the weeds, but I too agree with Alex. I will say the Gamecocks win this one. So that's 1-0, Alex, and 1-0 away from home, which I think is really big to get a win against an ACC opponent and to give up essentially what is a home game to do this neutral field game. You better win.
And it's a game that you're going to be in the national spotlight where all eyes are going to be on you, being it's a Sunday game that Miami Notre Dame games at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And everybody's in a college football craze right now. All eyes around the country are going to be on South Carolina. So I think it's a chance for them to make a statement out there.
Yeah, so we're both going to go for wins. We'll talk about more next week about why we picked that and what our final score prediction is going to be. Alex, I don't think we have to spend too much time on this one, but the second game of the year is at Williams-Brice Stadium. It's the home opener, so get out there. South Carolina State. Is this a revenge game? It's not really revenge for Howell, but is he going to want to score a touchdown against his old team? Will they get there? Will they? This could be a game, honestly, where it's 7 rushing touchdowns, and that's just how many points the Gamecocks score.
Yeah, it could be, and I think to give South Carolina State credit, like they, Chennis Berry, the head coach, they had a really good year last year in his first year there. I mean, had some good players. Have replaced their quarterback, who was one of the best players in the country at that level, and so they'll be ready to go. But I think South Carolina, being that's the first home game and all that, I think they end up winning that one comfortably, as you would expect.
Yeah, and for me, it's a game where you have Virginia Tech. And then you have South Carolina State. You want to pull the starters early. You don't want Lenore Sellers out there much. You want to get some reps for Luke Doty, who might be called upon. Right now, he is quarterback number 2. So it's a situation where I would like to see the Gamecocks score 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns and really just salt away that game if they can. And then moving on, Vanderbilt. This game is at home as well. We've already heard Diego Pavio has circled this game for some reason. Don't know.
I mean, who knows? Like, it could be
He's very angry about it.
Huh? Yeah,
He's very angry.
It could be, I can't remember the year it's been, but I mean, and how many years it's been, but I mean, South Carolina's had Vanderbilt's number for quite a while now. And then also, like, when you think about Vanderbilt's season last year, like, that was probably the most lopsided game from a loss standpoint. Like, South Carolina really kind of dominated that game. So who knows from that standpoint.
I'm right there with you. I think the Gamecocks will find a way to get the win. This will be coming off South Carolina State. Hopefully you're able to rest some guys, get some fresh legs out there. And I just wonder how much Pavia has been figured out at this point. It seemed like towards the end of the season he was getting figured out a bit, but coaches are paid a lot of money to figure out how to stop that and be better. So thoughts on that, Alex?
Yeah, I think he was a little bit banged up too towards the end of the season, right? Just because, I mean, when you look at his stats, like he ran the ball he had over 100 carries. Like, he was really relied upon in that offense. And they got some good players, like a lot of guys coming back from last year's roster. Obviously, Pavia, Eli Stowers has, got a good chance to be number 1 tight end off the board in next year's draft. Like, they got a lot of players on that defense as well. But I think it's just when we talk about this a lot with Vanderbilt, with the way they play, they can kind of drag you into their game and make things interesting there. So it's just obviously I'm not going to sit here and break down the keys for the game for Vanderbilt, but something that's also interesting too is like you'll have some film from what you did from Virginia Tech, but also within Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt playing in week 2, you also have some comparison film there too as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We've talked about that a couple of times in the off season. I think the Gamecocks will win that game ultimately. And Vanderbilt does, I think, return the most lettermen or either most starters in the SEC this year.
Yeah.
I just don't think that if Williams-Brice stayed in the SEC home opener, I think it'll be too crazy. And I just don't know if Pavia can win it by himself, I guess. So,
yep.
Alex, that's both of us going 3-0 for the Gamecocks, eh?
Yep, 3-0.
All right, we move into Missouri, and Missouri is a road game. Missouri evidently doesn't have a starting quarterback. They have 2 guys they're going to rotate through. By this point, I would imagine the starter would be named or at least figured out. Or if they're still going back and forth, then I think that's a game that the Gamecocks will feel very confident in. For me, I just think that despite Drinkwitz kind of having some coaches around the SEC's number and being able to dial things up, I just don't think they have the overall talent level that they've had in years past at the skill positions. And you can get by with a very above average to great SEC quarterback and not elite and what Missouri's had over the years. And you can have explosive play guys that can figure it out. He's had either that running back that can take it 70 yards. He's had the running back that catches everything and runs 40 times a game. He's been able to play a lot of different styles of football. I do think that South Carolina is better this year, and despite it being at Missouri, like we've talked about, the hardest game of the year so far for the Gamecocks, I'm going to take the Gamecocks to win that game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be a close win for South Carolina. For Missouri defensively, I think they're actually going to be pretty good again this year. They've for the past few years now, they've been pretty good. They've got some guys coming back there along with some transfer portal additions. But, I think you just look at offensively what all they lost. I mean, Brady Cook was a really good quarterback. On the offensive line, Armand Membu was a first-round pick. Still got Caden Green there, too. He's going to be a good lineman. But Then you lost your top 2 running backs, Noel, and then a wide receiver. I mean, Luther Burden was one of the top players in the country, and then Theo Weeds as well is also gone. So it's so much to replace. And then you mentioned it with the quarterback stuff. They're going to play both Perbula and Sam Horn in that Central Arkansas opener. Like, I think you probably would have wanted, one of those guys to separate themselves, throughout camp, but it doesn't seem like that's been the case so far. So that's going to be a pretty interesting storyline to watch the first few weeks, just because from their schedule standpoint, they got Central Arkansas, and I can't remember who else it is in between that. I know they got Kansas as well. So just kind of see how that offense for them kind of progresses and how the quarterback battle there shakes out.
Yeah. So Gamecocks are 4-0 right now for both of us, Alex. And then it's the home game against Kentucky. Kentucky seems to be a dumpster fire right now. It seems like Stoops can't get out of there fast enough, and the fans and Stoops feel that way. I'm trying to turn a new leaf, I guess you should say. Kentucky's had South Carolina's number in a lot of years, but not the past couple. And I do think that South Carolina has more talent than Kentucky. I truly think they can do the same thing they did Kentucky this past year, just getting after the quarterback and seeing what happens. But Lenore's might have played one of his best games, the most surgical best games of the season against Kentucky last year, and I don't see any reason for that to slow down this season.
Yeah, I agree. I got South Carolina win this one as well. I think it's just, some questions still there on both sides of the ball for Kentucky at quarterback. On defense, they got some questions as well. So I got South Carolina going 5-0 into this bye week.
So let's talk about bye week. 5-0, I think that any reasonable Gamecock fan would say that, okay, August, September, pretty okay. Not too worried about any game on that schedule. Plenty of time for South Carolina to feel some things out, figure things out. Plenty of time to get in a rhythm, because because after the bye week, you have what I would consider 3 blue bloods in college football history, back to back to back. And one of those games is on the road. So, Alex, you're 5-0. No idea where LSU will be at this point. We'll talk about LSU later. They do have some games before they play South Carolina. But that will almost assuredly be a night game, and there's a lot of talking points surrounding that game. Alex, I'm going to let you go first here and give your prediction on LSU, South Carolina, and Baton Rouge.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, that one's probably going to be a night game. It seems like, that's just – especially if South Carolina's 5-0 and LSU is going to probably be undefeated. Well, we'll get to the Clemson game and all that. Like, we'll see about that one. But, you have to imagine they're going to be probably a one-loss team. So it's going to be a night game. I just think that could be such a tough place to win at night in Death Valley. Like, I'm going to go loss. I think it's going to be the first loss for South Carolina that season. I think it's going to be close. It's going to just come down to, like, can you make Garrett Nussmeier make mistakes in that game? And I think that's just going to be the biggest thing. And can the offense do enough? An LSU defense that I want to kind of see early on to see what they look like. I like Blake Baker, a defensive coordinator, but have they done enough to kind of get what they need to get in from a defensive standpoint and take that next step?
Unfortunately for me, this is where I do see a loss coming. And look, the Gamecocks have only had a 6 consecutive win streak a handful of times in their history. So this would be the 6th consecutive win in a season. And coming off a bye week, I don't like the noise that's going to be around the program. Coming 5-0, started the season ranked 13th in the country. If you get to 5-0, you're probably top 8, top 7, because there are some teams that play each other ahead of you. And undoubtedly, they're going to get dropped to the best one-loss team, despite that being a stupid way to rank, in my opinion. But
yeah,
so much noise, so much pressure.
To your point on the rankings, like already starting number 13 in the country in the preseason. Like if you're 5-0, which includes a neutral site win to open the season against Virginia Tech, and then if they're able to go beat Missouri on the road, like that could be end up being a top 10, top 8 matchup, depending on where LSU is at that point. But if South Carolina's 5-0 at that point, I think you feel pretty good about their chances of being top 10 in the country.
Oh, absolutely. Probably top 10 for both programs, depending on what LSU does. So 5-1, and honestly, Alex, I don't think that I reserve the right to change that prediction when we get closer to the game. And in all these predictions, we're going to say what we said in the preseason, but I do see a world where South Carolina can beat LSU in Baton Rouge at night and send a message to the entire country that that's a possible outcome. There are a lot of possible outcomes in this game. And, moving right along to October 18th, the South Carolina State Fair game, Oklahoma's going to come to town. I don't see that an LSU loss hanging over the team where you lose 2 times, you let someone beat you 2 times in a row. I think the Gamecocks beat Oklahoma again this year. I think by this point in the season, you're going to have your offense and your defense figured out. And top to bottom, South Carolina is a better team than Oklahoma, in my opinion, and it's at home.
Yeah, obviously with Oklahoma, there's a lot of hype around John Mateer and what he can do this season. That's going to be another one I mentioned to watch. Really want to see how, because they got that big game against Michigan as well early on the season. So kind of watch them, but I kind of feel the same way. I think it's, after coming off a loss in Baton Rouge, and then they kind of find a way to rally back around and go against a team that you pretty much dominated last year in Norman. So first time Oklahoma's going to be making their way to Williams-Brice Stadium, and I think South Carolina gets a win.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that South Carolina is over the last 10 or so years where a ranked team came to Williams-Brice and Gamecocks stuck in there for a little bit, held on for a little bit, and then at the end of the game, they lost. I don't think that's them anymore. I think that this is a team that can play 4 quarters football against anybody in the country. So, and there's a lot of teams in the country I feel that way about, but I'm also saying that South Carolina is now one of them, which should make you feel a little bit better. So let's see here. 6-1, and that brings Alabama the day before my birthday to Columbia, South Carolina. I'll go first here since you went first against LSU. I have the Gamecocks taking a loss here. I have the Gamecocks dropping to 6-2. You'll find out a little bit later. I feel very strongly about Alabama. I'm a big proponent of which program has the best players in the country, top to bottom. And Alabama still does. I think Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach who's already taken another team to the national championship. It's going to be a different Alabama team. And people want to just say that Ty Simpson's a game manager. I don't know if he's a game manager or not. But I do know he was a 5-star, and he went to Alabama, and Nick Saban picked him out, I feel like. So I can't remember if he was a Nick Saban recruit or not, but either way, Alabama's still really good. And I think that South Carolina just might not be able to get over the hump again this year against the Tide. Yeah,
I think out of all the games on the schedule, this was probably the most difficult one to pick, just because you mentioned with Alabama and what they have. I think this is where the first game are going to be different, and I think it's going to be a close win for South Carolina. I think it could be a field goal type of game, and South Carolina moves on with the win against Crimson Tide.
All right, I hope so. I hope so for our life. It'll be a lot better coming on the show on 10/26 on my birthday with the Gamecocks having won. And
that'd be a good birthday present for you.
Yeah, just for this show and for the Big Spur, I would love it.
Absolutely.
All right, so November comes, and Shane has I think it's 11-4 or 14-4 overall record in November. Now 13-4. I can't remember. It's a good one, but it's not at Williams-Brice. And traditionally, when Shane's lost in November, it feels like it's been away games or against Clemson. That's really it. Ole Miss at this point, we're going to know if they're one of the best offenses in the country. We're going to know if their star quarterback, who everyone's anointed as a star, is a star. There's a situation where I think the Gamecocks go into Ole Miss and they could win by a lot. We've seen Ole Miss fold before. I mean, they play cocky, they play aggressive, but when things don't go their way, you don't see them getting off the mat. You see them struggling to try and stay in the game. So give me the win for the Gamecocks at Ole Miss in November, 7-2. What say you, Mr. Jones?
I agree. I think it's going to be a win. I think South Carolina's got a chance there. Obviously, you mentioned it. What's going to be Ole Miss's offense with Austin Simmons. But I think you're going to be getting to this point. Obviously, you can talk about everything South Carolina's done under Beamer in the month of November. But I think defense. One thing for the defense this season, I think it's going to be one where if everybody stays healthy and everything stays on track, could be a unit that just gets better and better with each game. I think you start to kind of see that in this one going forward.
I can see that as well. I mean, like we agree there. So, Alex, right now, I think you have the Gamecocks at what?
One loss.
There's 3 games left. No, 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 games left as we go to this bye week. So that is what, 7-1 or 8-1. You have the Gamecocks. You have the Gamecocks at 8-1. I got the Gamecocks at 7-2. Again, I think this is another good spot for a bye week. You went through that murderer's row of Oklahoma, Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss. I mean, the best that the Old West has to offer you, and 3 blue bloods, as I mentioned. So you get to that bye week, you get to regroup, and then you have to go on the road to Texas A&M. This is a game where I think South Carolina they had their second wake-up call of the season, I feel like, against Texas A&M in that second half, when they realized that they could beat someone. They could beat them badly. They could impose their will. And that was what Spurrier's teams on those 3 11-win seasons had. And at different points you've seen it, but you really saw it come out against A&M last year.
Yeah, you did. And, going into this game, I think it's another one we're going to differ. I think you got on the win. I'm going loss on this one. I think it's a spot where South Carolina has kind of struggled at Texas A&M or on the road at Texas A&M. And I think it's going to be one where, Texas A&M kind of feels like they kind of owe South Carolina one with what went down in Columbia last year. On the road, I think, Mike Elko's a really good coach. And, defensively, I think they got a chance. I'm interested to see kind of how Marcel Reed takes the next step at quarterback as well. But I'm gonna go close loss in this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do have the Gamecocks winning that game. I haven't seen enough from Marcel Reed yet to tell me he is a true dual threat quarterback. I know that he can run, but I also think the Gamecocks secondary is really good. So on the next one, we'll just go really quick here, Alex. It's Coastal Carolina. This is a game that I hope that the Gamecocks are able to play some reserves, let them, some kids that might be redshirting at this point. If they haven't played 3 games, they can at least play against Coastal. And then, or they play 2 games to play Coastal and maybe the bowl game. So you'd love to see some younger kids get an opportunity. You'd love to see Cutter Woods get to play against an in-state college. You'd love to see Aaron Nolan. You don't want to see Lenore Sellers long in this game. You want to see a 21-0, 24-0 after the first quarter, and then let's bring in the other quarterbacks and see what happens. So do you disagree at all, Alex? Any other thoughts on that game?
No, you hit the nail on the head. I think good to move on to Clemson.
Yeah, so right now we both have the Gamecocks 9-2. November 29th. We'll be here before you know it, unfortunately, and so will Labor Day, unfortunately. I wanted to be here, but I also wanted to not come in different ways because when it's here, it goes by in a blink of an eye. But November 29th in Williams-Brice Stadium, Clemson will come to town. At this point, the Gamecocks are 9-2 in both of our preseason predictions for the record. I think a 9-2 team going to the Clemson game is definitely in the playoff hunt. A 10-2 Gamecock team that beats Clemson, who's probably going to be the ACC champion, probably. Look, I think that gets you into the playoffs, and I think the Gamecocks will have that much on the line. And Williams-Brice, with the opportunity to go to the playoffs, will be the most electric I've ever seen it. I believe that if this happens, it would be ridiculous. And for that, I'll give the Gamecocks the win because Gamecocks, I feel like, are inside Clemson's head at this point.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. I think if I'm looking at it right, it's been since 2018 since the home teams won in this game, in this rivalry. So I think it could be South Carolina winning by a field goal in this game. Clemson. I think you can't doubt the talent that they have on that team defensively, especially on that defensive line with Parker and those guys. Now I think they got some guys in the secondary, and then those wide receivers are as well. And now it's just seeing, can Cade Coleman kind of, take that next step again. But I think South Carolina's able to get this away with this one. I think the Gamecocks won by a field goal and moved to 10-2.
All right, so there you have it. Alex and I both have the Gamecocks going 10-2 this season. Look, we did this last year, and people told us how idiotic we were. 3 games in the season, how dumb we were. We might be really dumb in a lot of things, but when we put this out there, we're not sunshine pumping. This really is how we feel when we look at this game, and we are probably closer to this Gamecock football team than 99% of people in the world. And so are you guys by being a part of this show. So happy to have y'all. Alex, around the SEC, we got to hit these pretty quickly. South Carolina, I think 10-2 is what we predicted. I think a range for South Carolina. I think worst case is 8-4, and I think best case is 11-1. I don't think they can have an undefeated season. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I was going to say I think 8-4 is kind of that starting range. I think in that 10-11 win range, just somewhere in that range are the best possibilities for South Carolina.
So then Georgia. Georgia has a couple tough games. I mean, I just pulled 5 for us, Alex. Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, Florida, and Texas. Only one of those games is on the road for the Georgia Bulldogs. I've seen some people saying that Georgia could take a step back this year. CBS's own Brad Crawford, I believe, is on with JB today and thought Georgia could take a step back. I don't see anything worse than 9-3 for the Bulldogs with that schedule, but I don't see anything better than 10-2. Do you disagree at all? Do you think they can go undefeated? 1 loss?
I think they could. I think you'll see 1, maybe 2 losses. I think it's just when you look at those games, like, at Tennessee, I don't think we know too much about Tennessee right now. Alabama, and obviously we talked about how tough they can be, but you get Alabama at home, you get Ole Miss at home. Florida, I think, potentially can be really good this season if DJ Lagway's healthy and some things go around. But, I kind of agree with your best case, or, best case, obviously undefeated, but I could also see that 9-3 worst case scenario.
Yeah, with a team like Georgia, undefeated is always on the table. But, I mean, I see more of a 9-3, 10-2 team this year. Yeah. Texas, they open it up right away, man, at Ohio State. Then they go at Florida in October, and then Oklahoma and Dallas. They go to Athens for Georgia, and then play Texas A&M at home. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games that are kind of interesting, I think, for Texas this year. And if they lose any other games outside the 5 we're talking about, that's going to be really, really interesting to be the talk of every sports program you turn on, starting from when that game ends till the next week. So I don't know how much we're going to learn about Texas or Ohio State in the first game of the season, except hopefully there's just a great game and they're both really, really good. That's what I'm hoping for. But I think Texas can beat Florida, Oklahoma, A&M pretty easily with, even like their A- game, B+ game. So then are they going to split the Ohio State, Georgia game? I have Texas, worst case 9-3, best case 11-1. I don't think they can go undefeated.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same thing as with Georgia in this or with Georgia, what you talked about a minute ago. I kind of feel like it's the same worst case, best case scenario. Like I maybe like Texas' schedule a little bit in this one just because I think they got some winnable games, especially at home. But I kind of lean towards that a 10-1 or 10-2 kind of range, 11-1 range for them.
Yeah, and Texas, it was smart, man, because they played Ohio State, where if you lose to Ohio State, you're still going to be compared against the SEC teams because they don't seem to care who you beat or when you beat them. So, they lost to Ohio State. Ohio State's really good. We're not going to ding them at all. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a game where you got a lot to gain, but you're not going to ding you for losing at Ohio State.
Yeah, first game of the season. Then you got Alabama, man. Alabama's my team, like I said earlier. I think they're one of the most talented teams in the country. I think they have a really good coach. They have some tough games, though, man. Who knows about Florida State this year, but they open the season in Tallahassee, play Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a scrappy team that can potentially give them fits if Alabama's not ready. And then, they go to Georgia, they host Tennessee, they go to South Carolina, they host LSU, and they host Oklahoma. So, there's no Nick Saban treatment right now in Tuscaloosa. This is a tough one.
Yeah, I think you like the home games they get in that, though. Tennessee being at home, LSU being at home, Oklahoma being at home. So I think you just like the home games they get in that. And obviously that South Carolina game is going to be pretty telling, I think, for both teams, honestly. So we'll see, but I'm kind of the same thing with you there.
Yeah, and Oklahoma, I just don't know what they are, Alex. We've talked about it before. I mean, for me, their worst case is 5-7. Their best case is 8-4. I don't see this Oklahoma to the playoffs that everyone talks about.
Yeah, they're probably one of the hardest teams in the SEC to kind of know what they're going to be. They did pretty well transfer report, obviously, with Mateer, then bringing his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle, with him. Jay Knott, the running back from Oklahoma, they brought him in as well, and he's pretty good. I just think it's one of those where I'm going to have to see a few games early on to see how they get going. Obviously, with a lot of pressure on Brent Venables in this one, this season. So I think that Michigan game early on is where we're going to learn a lot about Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, it's Michigan, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU. I can't say that Oklahoma's going to be favored in any of those games. So, yeah, how about this? Let's go ahead and bring old Big John Strickland in here. Well, he's Little John now. I saw him a couple weeks ago. And we're going to hit a break here in a moment. But if John might want to comment on some of the stuff. If not, then he might be holding his wisdom for a little bit later on in the show. But hey, John, man, what's up? You're muted, buddy.
Yeah, I got it.
There you go.
So, John, man, glad to have you on the show. Making your late night debut, I believe.
Yes, it's always morning, midday, or somewhat after lunch. But since it's evening, we'll have a little pour and hang out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say, with all that good stuff behind you, late night show, you can have whatever you want, man. Just pour it up. But John, what we're doing here, you might have fun with this. Feel free to comment on any of it. We're just going through some of the other SEC teams and giving like a range of wins that we can see them, finishing with what they have. So we just did Oklahoma, and Oklahoma, Michigan, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU. Man, I don't know if they're gonna be favored in any of those games, despite the media hype.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough slate, but I will say now they hit the transfer portal good, and they brought in some new coaches. So, I think Oklahoma for me is just it's a big unknown. I think that's why in the coaches poll you didn't see them ranked, because I think just nobody really knows. But you got a lot of the media that's been hyping them up, so. That's why you saw them ranked in the AP poll, which 18th or something.
Something
right?
high, yeah, 18th or 19th.
Yeah, so I think it's just a lot of hype. I mean, honestly, every year is so different. You really don't know what you got until you put it on the field. They do have a very talented quarterback, and he's got a live arm.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched him play in the past. I mean, the guy can sling it sidearm like Patrick Mahomes pass. I mean, so he's got some zip, he's got some accuracy, but how does everything gel as a team is really the big key on this. And having first-year coordinators, with these guys learning everything in less than right around 8 months.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to see, but do I think they're a top 25 team? Possibly, just because of the quarterback position and what we know they have had on defense with Brent Venables. I mean, we know all about that defense.
Oh God.
So, so I think that's why a lot of people are high on them, which I can understand. But I still think with them there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah. Then we got LSU after them. LSU, we know they open with Clemson. They host Florida. They travel to Ole Miss. They host South Carolina, A&M. They travel to Tuscaloosa, and then they travel to Oklahoma. LSU for me is a lot like Oklahoma. I mean, that's a tough schedule. The SEC's hard, guys. Newsflash, it's pretty difficult. But
you don't play that,
LSU? Yeah, you do know.
Yeah.
My question for LSU is their defense, man. Is their defense going to go back to 2 years ago, where it was just a turnstile, or is their defense good enough to win those tough fourth quarter games? That's what LSU is going to be about this year for me.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, is the defense going to take the next step? Just because offensively, I think you're going to know what you're getting with Nussmeier. You got Aaron Anderson out there, wide receiver. They got Barry Brown from Kentucky, who we've seen a lot of times from South Carolina playing Kentucky. And then just Caden Durham at running back. I think it's going to end up being one of the better running backs. And just defensively, I like we mentioned earlier, I like Blake Baker and what he's done as defensive coordinator. And I think it's just if they take the next step, that's going to be huge for that defense. And that's something that we'll find out kind of early on, going to Clemson for LSU and then early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on LSU. I still think there's some unknowns about that defense. I mean, they haven't been the LSU defense we all know in a few years now, especially Brian Kelly's first 2 years. I mean, they just haven't seen it much. And but we know they got the firepower at the skill position on offense. My question is, with the offensive linemen they use, especially at the tackles,
yeah,
that's tough to replace. very tough to replace. To me, offensive tackles are one of the toughest positions to replace on the offense, period, especially ones that as good as they had last year. So we'll see how that pans out for them. But I think LSU could easily be in that 9 to 11 win type team. Just it's going to depend on the defense, honestly.
And that's kind of where I had them when I did this. I said I can see a 6-6 for LSU if it just goes tails up. But I had them
in the SEC. You can go to 6-6 quick, real quick.
Oh yeah. And I mean 9-3, I can see 10-2, but they're going to earn every bit of that 9-3 and 10-2 this year, in my opinion, if they get there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they got some tricky road games. I mean they got to go to Bama, to Oklahoma. We talked about Oklahoma, how got to figure out what they are, but you got to go to Ole Miss too. So I mean there's some tricky road games that you've lost to start piling up. Things can start kind of piling up on LSU.
Yeah. Hey, Strick, Craig wants to know what you're sipping.
Just poured a Eagle Rare store pick just to kind of get the palate started. Low proof, 90 proof. I got a bunch of stuff that's 130 up to 140 that I like to drink, but it's always good to start with this first.
Yeah, definitely start with that. So I think Craig is going to get an Old Forester 1920, he said. So good on you, Craig. That's a good one. That's a good every day.
I just got this today, but this bottle's super hard to get. But it's an old Forester President's Choice. Now this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That is awesome. But A&M, my biggest question is look at their schedule. They go to Notre Dame, they have Florida, travel to LSU, South Carolina they host, and then they travel to Texas. It's a tough one against SEC. But how good is Marcel Reed? Is he a quarterback, or is he? And look, Savell Newton was a great quarterback, but that's who he reminds me of. Just slippery, can get away, can still make some plays downfield, but is he truly a quarterback? That's my question.
Yeah, I think their season kind of depends on him taking that next step, and they got some guys offensively. I mean, at that wide receiver spot, they got Casey Concepcion from the transfer portal, really good at NC State last year, and then they got those running backs who seem like they've been there forever with Reuben Owens and Le'Veon Moss and those guys. And then I think it just a lot depends on Marcel Reed and what they can do, and then kind of improving on the offensive line. Because defensively with Mike Elko, you have to think they're going to continue to get better. Like he's a defensive-minded coach, one of the best ones in the country. And I think you have to imagine they're going to continue to get better defense because they had some issues there last year defensively. I mean, especially in the pass game as well. So I think it's just a lot that's going to ride on Marcel Reed and his development.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think Marcel Reed, I think he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. Could possibly be even higher. Probably put him in the top 7 or 8. I mean, he has the potential. I think my question is for A&M. They lost a lot on defense, kind of like South Carolina did, and that's been the question around us as well. And I think that's a little bit on the question on them. How are you going to replace that? So I think that remains to be seen. But A&M always somehow seems to win 8 games every year. So. Who knows?
Lock it in. That's what I had for worst case, 8-4.
Yeah. I mean, I think A&M. I mean, they have the talent. It's just all about putting it together. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, and so I had 8-4, 10-2. Florida. Have you looked at Florida's schedule again this year?
Brutal. I mean, you got to start. I mean, you get Miami at Miami, but you got the road games in that one at LSU, at Miami, at A&M, at Ole Miss. Obviously not to steal your thunder, Matt, but I think the biggest thing you can say for Florida this year is the health of DJ Lagway. If he's healthy, I think they got a chance. If he's not healthy, I don't know where things going to go there for Florida.
Do y'all think that Lagway is a top 3? Healthy. If he's fully healthy, is he top 3 in the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, he was off on some passes last year, especially some of the games I watched. And, I was just curious here earlier this summer. I just kind of went back and looked, and I think he was only a 57, maybe 50-something completion rate guy in his playing time. So, I mean, that's not great. But he has the arm talent. He has the mobility to do great things. So, yes, I think he is a top I would say top 4 for me. I'd put him at 4th behind, the other 4. I don't even have to say them.
Yeah. Well, he
Or the other
gets us
3,
so
sorry.
much love as a top 2, number 1 quarterback in the SEC when healthy. And I just 57%. I mean, we saw Josh Allen be a 58%, passer when he was in college, start early on, and then he went to the NFL with Buffalo. He was a 58% passer, and then now he's a 71% passer. I mean, it can flip in a hurry.
Yeah, my point is like we saw what we saw last year, so I don't see how you could put the guy in the top 3 over Lenoris, Manning, or Nussmeier. I mean, I just don't see how anybody could rank him over them. So yes, 57%, but his ceiling is high.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ceiling's just like Lenoris's. His ceiling is through the roof. It's just all about putting it together, and it takes time. You don't ever want a quarterback to reach their ceiling ever until maybe they're 8, 9, 10 years deep in the NFL, and their ceiling is just higher than everybody else's ceiling, but they've hit it, but they're just better than everybody else. Quarterback, they should keep developing all through college and NFL. It should take you 4, 5, 6 years to keep on developing. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the most ones you look at the most. It didn't start till his 5th season. Well, he just kept developing and developing. So that's where I'm kind of going with it, and that's the way I see it.
Oh, I think that's a great insight there, John, because that is what people see. The football guys that see what you see, John, they see that stratosphere ahead of him, and they're believing that he'll get there. And that's what makes Florida dangerous. I mean, I personally don't have Florida in my top 25 right now, but a lot of that is because I just look at their schedule and what they're going to end at. I don't think they're going to be a top 25 team, but they can be. That's the scary thing. I mean, what do you think best case is for Florida with 1, 2? I mean, they got 8 games on their schedule that they're not going to be favored in probably.
I'd go a little bit higher from a best case scenario just because I like Ball at running back too, and I think their offensive line is going to be good. So if Lagway's going to be healthy the whole year and play every game, 8 or 9 wins, I could see being the best case scenario somewhere in there. I could go a little bit higher, but that schedule scares me a little bit.
Yeah, with that schedule, I would put the ceiling at 9 wins. And this is a full healthy team. Nothing happens during the season. No injuries to any key guys. 9 wins. I think they could easily be 5-7 though.
Well, these next 2 teams are kind of lumped in together for me with Ole Miss and Tennessee. I think as far as SEC schedules go and overall schedules go, Ole Miss and Tennessee probably got some of the best scheduling. If you look at Ole Miss, they host LSU, they travel to Athens, they travel to Oklahoma, but they host South Carolina and Florida. In my opinion, there's only 5 games that Ole Miss really has to get up for this year. And then when you look at Tennessee, they host Georgia, they host Oklahoma, and they host Florida, but they do travel to Alabama. Like, trade those schedules to me right now. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
All day. Give it to me all day. I mean, Tennessee's schedule is a product of them making the playoffs last year. I mean, and listen, I was cheering for them louder than anybody against Ohio State because, we don't like Ohio State around here. I mean, a lot of us don't like Tennessee either, but I'd rather see Tennessee win than Ohio State. So, I think Tennessee – I think Aguilar, just from what you saw from him last year, I mean, I think he's got a chance to be a decent quarterback. I think Tennessee's going to win more so with their defense and running the ball, kind of how they did last year. I think they're going to be very similar to that this year. I see them possibly getting anywhere from that 8 to 10 win kind of season. It's kind of what I see. And then as far as Ole Miss, I think they're going to take a step back this year, even though their schedule is nice. Everything they lost on offense and defense, man, that's just a lot to replace. And I don't care who you are, first year starting quarterback, there's going to be some road bumps built into it.
This is Austin Simmons, John. He's perfect. He's God's gift.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, Lane Kiffin's coaching him, so he's perfect. But they lost a ton of their receivers, man. All their receivers. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it. I think Ole Miss takes a big dip this year.
So dip down to 6 wins, 7 wins. How far are you going, John?
Yeah, I'd say probably the 7 because I think their schedule's easy enough to get to 7-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say if Ole Miss is going to get back to where they were, and you can say this about any team, but they've got to avoid those just let down losses they had last year. Kentucky, that loss kept them out. Florida loss kept them out. Obviously the whole question is going to be, is Austin Simmons going to be, what they need to replace Jackson Dart? But they just got to avoid those letdown losses. They're going to get back to where they were. Plus, replacing everything that they lost.
Listen, in my opinion, Jackson Dart was probably the best quarterback in the league last year, in my opinion. So take that for what it's worth. That's what I saw. And I think they're going to severely miss that guy this year. I really think they are.
Yeah, and the New York Giants agree with you. They have a first-round pick.
Yeah, I think I just watched him. What did we watch him?
In the preseason, yeah.
What, this past weekend? He was 14 of 16?
Yeah.
Come on.
Look pretty good. Okay, well, Craig just let us know that Irmo has tied the game 1-1, and they have still the bases loaded so they can walk it off here. Let's go, Irmo. We're pulling for you. I guess, John, I didn't send you this, but we're going to hit it since we got you. Got any predictions for conference champions? I'll go first for SEC. I'm picking Alabama. I think Alabama has just as much talent as anybody, and I like Kalen DeBoer.
I mean, I want to pick South Carolina, but I'm not going to go that far. Honestly, Alabama is a good possibility. I still got Alabama at 9 wins this year, unfortunately. I think Texas overall has the most talented team, and they do. If you go look at a recruiting stat sheet, Texas is the most loaded team, and I think the quarterback will be just as good as last year. So I don't foresee much drop off with Texas, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
Yeah, I got Texas. I think Arch Manning. I don't think Arch Manning even has to live up to some of these expectations that are being put on him for them to be good this year, just because of the talent that they have around him and everything. So I'm going Texas to win the SEC.
All right, we'll move on to the Big Ten. I'm going to stick with Penn State. I think that they have the most talent coming back. I think the change of defensive coordinator, if you listen to Penn State guys, they're excited about that change of defensive coordinator. And Ohio State has a new quarterback. He's probably awesome. I'm sure he is. Oregon has a new quarterback. He's probably awesome. I'm sure he is. And then Michigan, we'll see with Michigan. But for right now, just give me the safe money on Penn State.
Yeah, I would take Penn State as well. Basically, everything you just said is exactly what I would have said. So that's my reasoning for Penn State.
I'm going to Oregon. I think Oregon.
Okay.
I like their roster. I think they got obviously having to replace Dylan Gabriel, but I think Dan Lane's got to go in there. I'm going Oregon.
Well, Big 12, I got Baylor.
Replace too now.
They do, yeah, they do. But
we'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
With Big 12, I got Baylor. I think they're the best quarterback in the conference, and in that league, quarterback's really going to matter. And they just returned a lot. They came on strong towards the end of the year too, in my opinion. So give me Baylor.
I'm going Texas Tech. Money buys wins.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, money buys wins. My roommate from the Senior Bowl, Cody, he's the one that's been writing these fat $1 million checks, and I'm going Texas Tech wins the Big 12.
Texas Tech should win it just from a talent standpoint, but I'm gonna go Matt. I think I got Baylor doing it.
All right. Well, look, I have no allegiance to anybody in the Big 12, so I'll jump on Texas Tech with John. He's got a friend there. That sounds great to me. All right, we saved y'all say like the worst. I mean, would you put the ACC or Big 12 ahead of the other one? I think Big 12 is probably better top to bottom. ACC might be better at the top. What do y'all think?
Yeah, ACC is definitely top heavy. Once you get past about 4 teams, it kind of just goes downhill. I think maybe the Big 12 is a little more evenly spread out. So I think when you say that, I'd say it's almost a tie between the two. Yeah,
that's why I saved these two after SEC and Big 10. I'll let you go first, Alex. Who you got in the ACC this year?
Clemson. I don't think it's even really much of a decision on that one.
All right.
Pretty simple. I mean, I hate to pick them, but it's going to be Clemson, and then South Carolina will beat them again, and then we'll be the ACC champs too.
I mean, I kind of wonder what the gap is
I'll take
between 1 and 2 in that league, honestly. Like, I mean, I don't even know.
I can't wait till
till
North Carolina Clemson game.
Say it again.
I think Miami's going to have a little more to say than what people may think. I think Miami. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm sticking with Clemson. But I think Miami's got a chance.
Hey, John, Phil, behind the scenes here just said the U dog, and then he said LOL kidding. So I don't know if he's serious or not, but Miami does have a chance. I'm going to go North Carolina. I think when you have the best football coach that's ever done it, I think there's a lot of gimmicky things in college. Maybe he can stop it, but I just can't pick that team in the upstate on this show.
Well, I'll try and keep it real. And
yeah,
North Carolina will be somewhere in the middle of the pack at the end of the season.
I can definitely see that happening too. All right, so before we hit our sponsor break here, we're going to go rapid fire. How many teams are in the college football playoffs for the SEC this year? John, you go first.
4.
Yeah, 4.
All right, I got 4 as well. Big Ten, I got 3.
3.
Yeah, 3.
I think it's gonna be Ohio State, Penn State, and then one of Michigan, Oregon, Illinois. I think it may be Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big 12, I only have 1. I have Baylor, but I might be a Texas Tech fan now.
I got Texas Tech.
Yeah, well, I forgot about one team in the Big 12, Arizona State. Maybe just keep an eye on them. We'll see if they can kind of build on what they did. I like Sam Liv at the quarterback. We'll see what he can do. But, yeah, I'll go 1 there.
I don't disagree with that, but Scatterboo's gone, so.
That's true, yeah.
Okay. ACC, I'm going 2. I think Clemson's going to get in, and I think one of Miami, Georgia Tech, Louisville, SMU. I'd still throw Florida State in there because we'll see if they can make some noise.
Yeah, I'll go 2. I'll go 2 on it.
I will too, but I'm not extremely confident it'll be 2.
I'm not either.
Are y'all thinking 2 or 3? Are you thinking 1 or 3?
1.
1.
Well, yeah, that's where I'd be at too. Other conference champion, you're going to have one of Boise, Tulane, Navy, Memphis. I don't know if y'all have a favorite there.
I like Memphis, man. I like Memphis this year. I do. So that would be my pick there.
I'll go Tulane. I think they can. Obviously, they haven't replaced their quarterback, so that won't be easy. But I think they'll be. I'll go Tulane for the sneaky pick there.
Navy was a lot of fun last year. I'll go Navy. Mm-hmm. That was fun. And then Notre Dame, they get as an independent no matter what it seems like. So y'all think Notre Dame gets in this year?
I think so.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. All right, Alex, let's hit that sponsor break. And when we get back, we have some more Gamecock-specific stuff to get to with John.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the 2 of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cards while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
JC Sherbert here had a brilliant idea that some good friends of mine in Florence have told me about. Next time you're having a wedding or an event or anytime you got to feed a bunch of people, talk to my friends over at Flavortown Eats and Events. That's right. It's a food truck / trailer, prepares the food fresh on site right there for you. No hassle. It's absolutely delicious. They'll come out, turnkey solution to feed the masses at your event. Go to their website right now. flavortownflow.com. That's flavortownflow.com. They have all the contact information you need, and they are a proud sponsor of the Late Night Gamecock Show and the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products in out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks!
This is the Late Night Gamecock Show with the pride of Hampton County, Alex Jones. And with the king of late night, Matt Anderson. Go Gamecocks!
Well, I got to say, I appreciate the new bumper and commercial break there. I can actually go to the bathroom now, which is nice. Thank you, Phil, for doing that. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. I mean, that gives us plenty of time to do all that.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
But yeah, Flavortown, in Florence, make sure whenever you're in town, Myrtle Beach, Florence, Hartsville, really PD and Grand Strand, they'll do an awesome catering job for you. And they cook everything fresh on site. Kirby's the best, and make sure you reach out to him. And then all the other sponsors we have. Look, if I actually talked about every sponsor of the Chiefs Sports Network right now, I'd be here forever. And that just means that you guys are helping us out. We appreciate it when people want to be seen by Gamecock fans. So we thank you so much for that. We're going to move on to a little bit of over-under. And I did shoot this over to John and Alex last night so they could think about it. But this is based on Shane Beamer's track record at South Carolina. So we're going to play over under, and I'll go last each time. So y'all can alternate. Y'all just, whoever wants to jump in. But under Shane Beamer at South Carolina, the offense has averaged 27.8 points per game. For this upcoming season, over or under 27.8 points per game?
I'll go over. I think this offense has a chance to take a big step forward this year. Hearing about what they've been able to do in the scrimmages so far, and I think you like their chances going over on that.
I don't think there's any doubt it's going to be over. I think this offensive line is going to be probably the best offensive line Shane's had since he's been here. I think the receivers, while it's young, has a lot of potential. And this running back room's probably one of my favorite running back rooms I've seen around here in a long time, personally, just overall. It's tough to beat a Rocket Sanders now. That guy he's a stud. But when you take the body of what's in that room, I think there's just too much good. And then everybody knows what we got at quarterback. So I think it's going to be well over, what'd you say, 27.8?
27.8, yeah, John. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think it's going to be over as well. I think it's going to be north of 30, and that sets you up so well when you can go out and get 28 to 35. That has to free your defense up, and we'll talk about the defense right now. So under Shane Beamer, South Carolina, the defense has given up 24.2 points per game. So for this season, over under 24.2 points per game, the defense gives up.
I'll go under. I think this defense is going to be one this year where I think early on they'll have maybe some bumps in the road, but I think there's going to get better as the year goes on, as they get more experience, more gelling together, especially those guys, linebacker, and then some of the younger players are going to be up front as well, but I'll go under here.
Yeah, I definitely have under. I don't think there's any doubt. I think this defense is going to be a lot better than what people think it's going to be. I've been out and seen it at practice. I'm just going to tell you, if it all comes together now, it's all going to have to come together. Guys are going to have to be on the same, on the same straight line, playing together and gelling together. But if that happens, this defense has a chance to be really good. So I'm definitely taking the under. I actually like this secondary more than last year's, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex and I have said this, Sean, and you mentioned the running back room. For me, I feel really good about the tight end room and the defensive back room. I feel like those two units, and you've already talked about the other units, but I have so much confidence in so many guys in that room. I feel like you don't really take a step back tremendously, even when you get down to second string, third string in any of those rooms. So
the secondary, I think this year, they've got the talent at each of those starting spots, but that secondary is going to be as deep as I remembered it for a long time. Like they just have so many different options they can go to. They're going to be so versatile with a Brandon Cisse and all that back there in the secondary.
Yeah, I'm going under as well. I think somewhere in that 17 to 21 point range is where you're going to see the Gamecocks finish from an average standpoint. Next one here, over under. So Shane Beamer's offense turns the ball over 1.6 times per game. So this year per game, will the Gamecocks turn the ball over more than 1.6 times? Over under.
I'll go under. Like I think you like what you heard from Shane Beamer so far about what they've been able to do from a turnover standpoint in scrimmages. I think Lenoris takes the next step from that standpoint. Obviously, ball security in the pocket and all that was a little bit of an issue, but I think Shula has helped him continue to work on that. So I think kind of overall they'll be under in that.
Yeah, I've got under too. I mean, 1.6. I mean, that's a lot if you think about it. Which we had a problem turning the ball over last year, and it cost us some games. But I definitely think we would be under, just from all these skill guys who are going to be touching the ball, being older. I think is going to help with that number.
Yeah, I mean, you look at 1.5, 12 games in regular season, you're talking about 18 turnovers. So I think the Gamecocks need to be under 18 this year to show, marked improvement, which they should, and for all the reasons you guys mentioned. Okay, so this is a fun one too. The defense under Shane Beamer has forced 1.7 turnovers per game. Do y'all like that over under this year?
I'll go over. I think, I think Judge Collier talked about it. I think the secondary one is going to get some interceptions this year. But I mean, he talked about it specifically with him. Like, there's so many plays on the ball that he had last year that he kind of felt he left on the table. And we'll see. A lot of times, I think Collier can be their number one corner for them, and sometimes those guys aren't getting challenged a whole lot. But I think I'll go over here because I think Dylan Stewart can get some strip sacks, and there Brian Thomas Jr. coming off the edge can get some strip sacks. So I'll go over.
Yeah, I'm definitely going over on this, and it goes back to what we just said. I think the secondary is going to be really good, and I think they're going to help force some turnovers quite a bit this season. So I like what I'm seeing on that back end. So I definitely got to go over on this one.
Yeah, so I'm going over as well. I think that they're going to get at least 24 turnovers this year. 24 divided by 2. You'll be fine there. So next one. This one's fun too. I didn't know if you realized this. I didn't. But the Gamecocks have blocked at least one punt per season under Beamer and at least one field goal / extra point per season. So are we going to get more than – will the Gamecocks get more than one this year?
I think so. Yeah, I feel like they got some guys that – I think you'll see some of these freshmen. Like one guy, I've mentioned from a freshman standpoint that I think he's going to play is Chris Hatfield from a special team standpoint. I think he can get in there and do some things. So overall, I think they'll get one block punt, one block field goal or extra point.
Yep, I got the over on it. It's Beamer ball, baby, with Joe DeCamillis. So give it to me. We're definitely going to get the over. Could only be by one, but it's going to be over.
So, John, my question, like with Joe DeCamillis, what is it like for a special teams coach to come in year one and try and soak everything up that was successful with Pete Limbo, and obviously you have the Beamer family tree, but what differences do you think the Gamecocks could do this year, or will there be any differences in how they try and get after the ball?
Well, I think what plays into that is obviously we know Shane is a special teams nut job. He loves it, and Shane will tell you that. That's what he loves. And I think he was even asked this a while back, do you have any input on the special teams? And he basically was like, well, I don't. It's not like I'm the one running it, but me and Joe, we talk a lot. We talk a lot and throw ideas onto people. So I think when you got two great special team minds like that, I think they've just learned so much over the years, not just counting last year, that they just come up with these Beamer ball type plays. And we've been known as a best special team school in the country around here for a while, since Beamer's been here, just because of all the crazy stuff, starting with the Georgia State game. So yeah, I think you got those two great minds, and I think they're taking more than just last season's, just a collective whole, and finding where they can exploit teams.
So the last one I have for y'all is under Beamer at South Carolina. The Gamecocks have scored at least 2 non-offensive touchdowns per season. Do you think the Gamecocks go over or under 2 this year?
Well, my answer is going to give away one of my bold predictions, so I'm going over. I think they do get it.
Okay, we'll save your stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going over on it too. I got us getting probably 4, 3 on defense, 1 on special teams.
I'm going over as well because I think you could see 2 in a game this year, to be quite honest with you.
I'll take it.
All right, so based on what we just said, we expect Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks to do better than their average over the last 4 years in every statistical category. So we think the Gamecocks are going to be better. So let's give some predictions now. I asked all these guys, both these guys come up with 5. I don't know if somebody wants to go first, if they have one they feel is really saucy, but I'll open the floor to y'all.
I'll go ahead and go. I'll do the team one I have first. For the first time under Shane Beamer, South Carolina is going to go undefeated at home.
Beating Alabama, nice.
I love that one.
Beating Oklahoma and beating Clemson, that's a good run.
Yeah, I think it's been 5-2. South Carolina's been 5-2 the past 2 years, but I think this year that's my bold prediction for the team wise side. I think they get it done at home.
So y'all get your tickets. Get out to the games. All right, John, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll throw one out there. Somewhat saucy. I don't think it's too saucy, but I predict we will have 2 receivers over 600, and then one of the 2 will be over 700 yards this season. I think there's going to be a lot of sharing going on, but I think you're going to have two wide receivers over 600 yards, which we ain't had that in a little while.
Yeah.
Okay, well, John, that was actually one of mine. I have 3+ Gamecock pass catchers. Well, kind of, not exactly. I had over 450 yards. You took it a little deeper.
I just missed it.
No, you're good. I like that because that has only happened 3 times since 2024, just to have over 450 yards. It happened in 2018, 2016, and 2013. So, going back to when you, John, played, this isn't a normal thing to have 3 guys that can do that. So
I know.
I'm glad we're on the same page there.
Yep.
All right. Well, then I'll just go next. I have one that I don't think it's saucy, but I think the national media might think it's saucy. I have Lenore Sellers joining the 25, 10, and 5 club. I'm not sure if this club exists or if I just made it up, but the 25, 10, and 5 club to me means that Lenore's will have 25+ passing touchdowns, 10+ rushing touchdowns, and less than 5 interceptions. So last year, Lenore's won 18 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. So to me, I told some other people that they're like, okay, he wins the Heisman if he does that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty stout. There hadn't been a quarterback around here since Connor Shaw to throw 5 or less interceptions in a season. So
yeah,
that's tough sledding. But I mean, listen, he missed 6 quarters last year and was still at 18, 8, and what was it, 7 interceptions. So if he plays those, he might hit that 25 and 10, and then he's just barely over that 7. So I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I mean, if it happens, fantastic. I'll sign me up, please.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about yards. Lenore's is about an 8.4 to 8.6 yards per pass attempt guy. So, Matt, when I see you in here in the chat, just do 8.5 times whatever number of pass attempts you think he's going to have this year. I don't know if he'll get to 400 pass attempts or anything like that, but that's where I'd see him at. He's proved to be so surgical.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think it'll get that high because this team's going to be a good running team too, in my opinion, just from what I've seen. So,
if you want them to be an elite team, they need to be a great running team. That's how you win games.
Yep.
All right, Alex, you got another one for us?
Yeah, so I'm going back to the wide receiver room, and I don't know how bold this will end up being once we see kind of how things shake out, but I'm going to go 2 true freshmen of those wide receivers end up in the top 3 in receiving yards on the team.
2, huh?
Okay.
I
do got 1, but 2. Okay, all right.
We'll see. Yeah, that one's bold because I like what you hear about.
All right, time out. John, who's your 1?
Freshman wise?
Yeah, freshman wise. Who's your 1?
From what I'm hearing, Jordan.
Yeah. Really?
Everything I've heard, yes.
Wow, he's been quiet, man. That name came up a little bit a couple months ago, but wow, that's some heat you're dropping.
Man. And he's only got here this summer, and I'm just telling you from out at practice, wow.
And what I tell people, John, when you say that, immediately someone's going to say, "Oh, well, Donovan Murphy isn't doing great, or Brian Rowe isn't doing great." No, that just means that this guy's wowing right now, and they've wowed in the past, and they're still really good players. But you understand what I'm saying? People just say, "Oh, well, just rotating the wide receivers." Like, there's still consistency there.
But if I had to say just one, I think that's got the chance to do what Alex is talking about, it's probably going to be Rowe.
All right, now who are your 2, Alex?
I was going Murph and Rowe. I think the thing with those freshman receivers is and you kind of mentioned it, it feels like you hear about different ones just having these big moments throughout preseason camp. I think that's something that shows the depth of what they have. But I'm also with that bold prediction. I'm also, you hear about the progress Nick Carver's had, and I also think Mazio Bennett can take a big step too. So, I think that one's probably, pretty bold on that one. But I think those freshman receivers have a chance to make an impact this year.
Hold on, I might have got it backwards. Didn't Murph come in this summer? He was
Murph got in this summer.
All
right, it's Murph. It's Murph.
Okay.
Sorry, it wasn't Jordan. My bad.
I was like, that is dropping something big.
I started listening to Alex talk, and I was just like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
We got so many. What
I know.
Like 5-star? I mean, 4-star receivers. 5?
Yeah,
5 4-star.
Yes, ended up being 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, had to be the best recruiting wide receiver class in the country, in my opinion.
Probably one of the best of all time. I mean, you can't do much better.
No.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think Murph is the one that you're just hearing the most about. And John kind of mentioned this.
It is.
Yeah, we've talked about it here before, but Mike Furry kind of mentioned, even with him coming in this summer, he wasn't behind at all those other guys. He came in from physically ready to go, and I think he just picked up right where they left off, and you're seeing the pictures of him out there making one-handed catches and stuff like that. So I think he's got a chance to make a big impact.
Well, Alex, you and I were both at camp 2 years ago, and there were a lot of 4-star kids, and I was like, that one, who's that one? And that was the guy. It was Donovan Murphy. He was just different. He played, I'll put it this way, he played confident and angry, but still humble, if that makes sense. You know, like those guys when you play them, they know there's nothing you can do to stop them. They're not going to be jerks, but they're going to go get everything they can. It's that guy. It's the guy that's going to beat you 11-0 with a smile on his face. It's a good game, man. There's nothing you can do. Staying in pass catchers, I have a bold prediction here that Michael Smith will make an all-SEC team at tight end this year.
It's a bold one.
It's a bold one.
Definitely.
He's going to get the opportunities.
I think you will get the opportunities, but I think that tight end room's loaded. So I think there's going to be several of those guys that are going to get the opportunities. Dingle, man, I watched him during spring. He looked really good.
I think Brady Hunt too could be, one to watch there as well. I think
Brady Hunt falls forward every time. I love him.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with 4 wide receivers in that room that you just put in at any time. I feel good about it. So,
well, we got a hot one that came in from Mad Dog. Mad Dog says Mo Brown scores 2 rushing touchdowns this year.
I could see it. They kind of use them in that H-back type of role, maybe some goal line type of thing. They put them in there. I could see it.
Yeah, could happen. Could happen.
All right, who's next?
All right.
Who wants to go?
All right, I got Brian Thomas has 8 or more sacks this season.
Oh,
is that the Dylan Stewart effect?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. 100% it is. But I still think Dylan's going to be double digit. So that's what I'm going with.
That every Gamecock fan would take that right now.
100%.
I'm just going to go ahead and bounce off of that. Brian Thomas was another one that I had. I said he leads the team in tackles for loss. this season. Just because I think some teams are going to kind of run away from Dylan Stewart and all that. I think he's going to get a lot of action over there.
What you got? You got another one for us, John?
Yeah, let's go with Fred Johnson. He will lead the team in tackles this year.
That one, John, tell me if you agree with this. And I said on the show last week, the things that I hear about Fred Johnson and I heard last year during his redshirt year is very reminiscent of Lenore Sellers, where he's just different. He's a freak. He's got to wait his turn.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. He is a freak, and he is built like a big safety instead of a linebacker, but he's big enough to play at that linebacker role, and he runs like a safety, like a Nick. He runs like that at linebacker. So good luck to all you teams that want to try and run the ball outside. Good luck.
I think with Fred, I think if they would have had to, he would have played last year in that linebacker room, would not have skipped a beat. I don't think he had to play last year just because of who they had in front of him, but I think they would have been fine playing him last year.
Yeah, that linebacker room was so deep last year, there's no point in wasting a year for him. Let him sit it and learn. So what?
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say having him have the opportunity to sit and learn behind a Demetrius Knight and Debo, I think it's going to prove huge for him this year.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so I'm going to do two real quick here and let y'all do some more. I have this one, Gamecocks win or lose one game as time expires this year. I think that there's going to be a game that comes down to a last-second field goal, a la LSU, some other heartbreakers, Florida a couple years ago. So I got that one. And then Luke Doty rushes, catches, and passes a touchdown this year. Thoughts on those two?
Actually, the Doty one I agree with because I actually think the coaches, maybe there's some opportunities in some games that they actually make that happen for him. You know, because he played back when I played. You know, he was a freshman when I was a senior. So. I like the Doty one for sure.
Yeah, so I've been waiting for Doty to do something like that since he came out in the slot against Georgia with Spencer. I just felt like there was so much opportunity to do fun things to make the defense play 11 on 11. So I got those two. What else you guys got? I want to hit all of them before we get out of here.
One of mine I had was South Carolina returns at least 2 kickoffs / punts for touchdowns this year, which goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago from what I was saying.
Special teams.
Yeah, at least 2, I think, because they, for one, like Shane Beamer has talked about them making an emphasis on improving in the return game. I think they got some options there. And Nick Harbor, this freshman, I think almost all of them could do it. Really, I just think they got some options to use back there from a punt return standpoint and a kick return standpoint. I
like that. I hope that happens. There's nothing more fun than a special teams touchdown, in my opinion.
Oh, I like when the defensive lineman or the defensive tackle picks up a fumble or intercepts the ball and just running. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But I just think the whole special teams thing, the ball's in the air, everybody's just watching, and all of a sudden you're like, and then, it's like a whole build-up, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know. I enjoy special teams. But my other one I have Mazio Bennett, 45 catches plus.
I think that's a really good one because he's so dependable and he's so quick.
He is. What do you have? 20 – I don't remember what it was last year. But
I think he had 380 yards.
Yeah.
And he had – how many catches? Come on, somebody pop it.
I can look it up.
Phil. I know you're watching, Phil.
He had 30 receptions for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Well, I think he's going to be between 45 and 50 this year. So big pickup from where it was last year. So that's one of my predictions right there. Then my last one would be that by the time the end of the season rolls around, Gabe Brownlow-Dindy will be on one of the All-SEC teams.
Ooh. Yeah, I think, I wonder how that starting rotation is going to look like in the Virginia Tech game. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Nick Barrett and Moncal Goodwine, but, that guy's going to play a lot. I think he's going to play a lot. I think he's got a chance. He's got the talent. I think he just battled injuries at Texas A&M, and, they were pretty deep on the defensive line, but he looks the part for sure, and I think Traven Robinson can get it out of him.
I can tell y'all this. I was out at 2 spring practices, 3, and he was kicking ass out there. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, he was manhandling people. So I like what I saw. I think if he can buy into what T-Rob's got going and follow his direction, I mean, he's another one, man. He's a freak. He's a freak. He has all the ability in the world. It's just all about putting it together up here and playing mean. You got to play with a mean streak. And, that's something I heard that he hasn't quite grasped. But, I mean, you just got to be an asshole out there. No matter if it's your mom across the line from you. When that ball snaps, you got to be the meanest person you could ever be. I know I was a totally different person on the field when I played versus how I am off the field. And defensive linemen hated it. So I think if he can put it all together, he's got a chance to do some really good stuff.
And quick update, real quick. Irmo came back and won tonight. They just won 7-6.
Awesome.
Yeah, they had to score 6 runs in the extra innings.
Yep.
That's some Gamecock magic right there. All right, so the last predictions I have, I think that you're going to have multiple players from this year's defense drafted next year. And then let's see. For the second consecutive season, at least one Gamecock will win a National Player of the Year, whether it's quarterback, Heisman, defensive lineman, pass catcher, all academic, whatever. There's going to be one person that wins that award with just their name on the trophy.
I can dig it.
All right, so appreciate that, John. Now you're here for the last segment we have, and the last segment usually on these Wednesday shows during football season is the best bets for the weekend. Normally, Alex and I would go through the entire slate, each pick 5 games, give a pick on it. Last year, I did beat Alex by 1 game, and it was the Gamecock Bowl game where I got the dub. So trying to keep that going this year. Alex, so we decided these aren't official picks. These are just for fun, right? We're not counting these in our season record.
Yeah, after last year, no, we're not doing that. I'm waiting. I'm waiting the week to get started.
All right, so I got these lines as of last night at 9 p.m. when I sent you all the show notes. But Iowa State versus Kansas, the game's in Dublin. As of last night, Kansas State was a 3-point favorite and over under 49.5. Do y'all have a feel for this one at all?
I'll go under on the point total, 51.5.
It's 51.5 now? I had it 49.
Oh, I'm looking at ESPN. That's what they have it
Okay,
as.
so it's moved now since last night. Go ahead, though. Cool.
All right, I'm taking Iowa State to win outright.
See that? Yep.
Under. Wow. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I hope that they do. I like Iowa State. I like their coach. I think they're a fun program. So you got ISU money line. Alex, I hate to be different from you, but I'm taking the over 49.5. So that's what I had. That's what I would have bet last night. So over 49.5 for me. The next game, there's not a lot this upcoming weekend, but we want to make sure you guys knew about it. You got Fresno State at Kansas. Kansas is a 13-point favorite, over under 50.5. Alex, you got a feel for this one?
I'll go Kansas covers.
Okay. John?
I'm taking Kansas covering the points.
All right, I'm taking the over 50.5. I think that Kansas might score a lot of points here, so I'll take the over 50.5. And then the last one, Stanford at Hawaii. You got to love the Hawaii game. That's always in week 0, and you've gone through about all your beer, all your bourbon. You're sitting there waiting for the DoorDash order to come, and you're just still watching football and loving life. So Stanford at Hawaii. Hawaii, as of last night, was a 2.5-point favorite with an over-under of 50.5. Which way are we leaning? I'll break the ice here. I'm going to take Stanford money line. I'm going to go against the Rainbows. So Matt, Stanford money line.
I'm going the other way. Hawaii covers.
All right. John, you got one?
Yeah. I had one, but I'm sitting here changing my mind as I think about it. I'm going to go with the Hawaii to cover at home. Stanford was god.
Well, we all know
last
that
year, so
Yeah,
I'm going to keep it on that trend.
I was going to say, I don't know if Stanford's done enough to even – I mean, they were bad last year. I don't know. I think Hawaii easily covers in that game.
Well, Vanderbilt beat Hawaii a couple years ago, and the whole world lost its mind. So maybe Stanford does it this year. I'll be up late watching that one. I know my brother and I are hanging out this weekend, which means we will be up late hanging out. So, John, man, we want to appreciate you coming on. Anytime you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to. I know this one got a little long-winded, but the prediction ones do. But we'd love to have your take on Rooster Rant on Sunday nights on this show. Wherever we can get you, we love you, man.
Yeah, just reach out. If I'm available, I'll make it happen.
We love that. Well, next week, Alex has actually hooked us up. Alex, you have a Virginia Tech insider that's going to come on the show. So we'll be able to talk about Virginia Tech, go behind enemy lines there. And then we'll give our predictions, our score prediction, and then we'll be right back at it. Alex will probably have to do Rooster Rant Monday night since we'll all be traveling. The game is Sunday. John, you going to Atlanta?
No, I mean, we went back and forth on it, but we're just going to hang here at the house, probably watch the first half in the pool, and then eat some Boston butts and smoked ribs in the second half inside.
Jealous. I'm jealous. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, I know you'll be there. We'll bump into each other. And John, next time we can see you, man, can't wait.
All right, guys. I enjoyed it.
Appreciate you
All
coming
right, man.
on.
We'll see you later.
All right,
and then, guys, Alex, thank you so much to all of our listeners for being here tonight, and the people that watch us on YouTube. When you hang out with us, you give us the most valuable thing you have. Your time never goes underappreciated. It was a lot of fun having John on here tonight. I hope you got some insight from him. John is a fantastic football mind, and he is as close to this program as anybody I know. So appreciate John coming on. Alex, any parting shots before we get out of here?
No, I mean, the prediction episode, is a whole lot of fun. I mean, we went an hour and a half tonight, but that was a whole lot of fun. And it feels like, we talk about the off season, but I don't think football season truly starts until we get our predictions out there. I think that's what they all say. So whole lot of fun, but can't wait for watch these games this week. And then before you know it, next Sunday we'll be here.
Yeah, it will. And we'll be excited. We'll see you here on Wednesday night, and then another episode Monday night to talk about what happened for the Gamecocks in Atlanta, and then back to the weekly grind, 2 shows a week. So excited for it. Alex, man, have a great rest of the night. Go enjoy your Moe's. I know it's on the way, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Hope you all have a good one. Bye, y'all.